The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 274. Today's date is Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, the first show of 2023. We are live, as always, over on YouTube. So if you're out there in the chat, go ahead and say something. We do not know that you're out there unless you do. If you want to call or text in the show, yes, you can call or text in the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Rod and Shelly Gates over at Aegis Gun Care. That number is 530-364-4678. And go check out aegisguncare.com. If you're a veteran, really anyone, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole, you're in the darkness and you're looking for that light, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I could be a pretty decent ear to listen to and maybe talk you through some stuff. If you are looking to get towards some medical attention, remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers out here that are willing and able to help you in any way possible. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255, the Veteran Crisis Hotline. We're spotlighting, as always, United States Marine Corps. So if you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we are a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Go check out all of your favorite pro-gun, pro-2A podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net. So we are pleased to be joined from a good friend, Rob, from LIONHEART Industries. We're also here with CloverTac, but who really cares about CloverTac? You know, I mean, he's always with us. He's always here. And we'll have some stuff maybe to announce later on the podcast with Clover and I. Before we get to Rob, I do want to say hello to Clover. What's up, buddy?
Hey, good to be here.
Thanks for always riding shotgun. Speaking of shotgun, do you have a shotgun of the week?
Man, you know I do. I'm looking forward to taking a look at it at SHOT Show. So TriStar,
Okay.
For a while now, TriStar's been doing some good stuff. I can remember some 4-H kids decade or two ago picking up some TriStars and me thinking, wow, these are pretty decent. They have a lever action 410, the LR94. So
Oh yeah,
looking forward to checking out that lever action 410 that they've got for sure.
Absolutely. You know me, I get rashes when people start talking shotguns and all that stuff, but
a lever gun on top of that.
Here. A lever gun shotgun on top of that might break the matrix for me. I'm just saying, right. I might need some calamine lotion. Right. I can't guarantee that I'll make it through that, but yeah, I'm not even sure if I could step in that booth. I might catch on fire. I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see something like that. But it's always nice having you, buddy. And tonight's guest from LIONHEART Industries. What's up, Rob? How you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Man, I'm tired. I'm excited. I'm probably not as tired as you are. I know you've been working, man, some crazy hours, getting ready for a shot, getting ready with a new product coming out. So we're going to kind of just dive in and basically just say welcome to the show. And I know that you've been working a lot of hours, but you want to kind of start telling people maybe what you've been working on that you might be releasing here in the next couple of weeks at Vegas.
Yeah, well, arguably our biggest release in the history of LIONHEART is coming in January, 2 weeks in Vegas. And that's our new pistol. It's called the Vulcan 9.
The Vulcan 9. So I think people are, at least people that are on my channel, saw a bunch of videos from the Regulus this year and love that handgun. Differences, obviously it's a different platform and all of that, but people that might know the Regulus, what is going to be the Vulcan? What are the selling points? What are the kind of the specs on the Vulcan?
I think the best way to look at it is think of the Regulus as the American-made and improved DP-51. right? We imported
Right.
the DP51. We called it the LH9. We did that for 6 or 7 years. Then we wanted to make it in USA. We moved it to a double stack mag. We made some other very minor improvements. The goal was, aside from the magazine, to keep the gun backwards compatible with the DP51. Under the original leadership, they wanted to be able to supply parts for the DP51, and just generally be of service to the old pistol and kind of take that heritage forward and make it in America. So we did that. During that time, there was a handoff. The new team, including myself, took over the company. And so we have a little bit different vision for the company rather than being classic firearms, because as cool as the DP51 is and was, it's not very well known, and it's not as widely as appreciated as we would like, as much as we appreciate it. So we wanted to, we looked at it as, how could we take the Regulus and the DP51 and turn it into a modern firearm without sacrificing what people loved so much about the pistol, but taking away everything that we could think of that they didn't like about it, and then adding some more cool features that some of which people have never seen before on an OEM pistol.
Yeah, and I think that what caught my eye last year at SHOT, that initially, and Clover is going to jump in here as well because he spent some time with you guys at SHOT as well, was the double action plus trigger, and that's something that a lot of people might look at that as a gimmick thing. Well, what is it there for and all that? But obviously the double action plus trigger serves as a specific function of the gun. And that was kind of what maybe set the Regulus aside from a lot of other handguns, the modern handguns that are all basically the same looking guns, is that specific trigger. Do you want to talk real quick about the Regulus double action plus trigger, and in case people haven't, they're under a rock and haven't seen any of the videos we've done and all that, but that might not be really sure what that is, because that was kind of groundbreaking for you guys.
It really was. And I've got a litany of parts on my desk.
I can only imagine.
I'm sure everybody would love to see all the stuff. It's just littered. I haven't had a chance to clean my office, otherwise I'd show you. It's embarrassing, but you're just seeing over there like the cleaner parts of my office. But yeah, so the double action plus, basically, it's kind of, if you've never seen it before, it's a little bit mind blowing. I always enjoy giving a demo to somebody in person, because they have that look on their face, like, what just happened, right?
That's the way I was last year. I was like, whoa, that's something new,
Yeah, it is. It's very new, and most people have never seen anything. The closest thing to it is the HK Lem trigger, but even then, it's different. And all these takes that have been done over the years on different types of triggers, and really it's the hammer, it's not the trigger. We call it the trigger to keep it simpler, but the different types of firing mechanisms, they all vary. None of them are identical. They all have a little bit different variations. And so what ours does is it allows you to put the pistol in a mode that gives you a long trigger pull, just like a double action, but with a weight of a single action. So it's a very lightweight, long trigger pull. And it is a third mode. So you still have your double action, which is your heavy trigger pull. You still have your single action, which is a light 4-pound trigger pull. And then you have the double action plus, which maintains roughly a 4-pound trigger pull, but over a longer distance of travel for that trigger. The nice thing about that is you can carry in that mode, and allows you to have better first shot accuracy without compromising safety. So we like to tell it as a safer alternative to carry. You can carry in double action plus, safety's off. There are safeties you can turn on in this pistol, but safety's off. Some people would say cocked and locked. This would be cocked and unlocked, I guess is how you could say it. And it's a safer way to carry, especially for those who are not super comfortable with carrying a striker fired. It's arguably it's maybe the least safe mode of carry compared to some of the alternatives out there, with cocked and locked being the safest, or maybe cocked and unlocked, right? Or sorry, uncocked and locked would be the
uncocked and locked.
Yeah. So, but I'll just give a quick demo, just because we've got you guys here. We've got you guys on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Here's a frame I've taken apart. This is just one of my frames I keep on my desk for playing with. No grips, no slide, no takedown lever. but everything else is all still there. You can see the trigger bar. And so when you cock it, you're in double action, right? It's pretty simple. You pull the trigger, it goes bang. But to put it in double action plus, you just take your finger and you push that back forward. And it's a two-piece trigger. It's a two-piece hammer, and the hammer is riding over a detent. So it just snaps back over that detent. So now when you pull the trigger, and I just have to hold the trigger bar in place because there's nothing, the grip's not holding it in place, and take the safety off. When you pull the trigger, it's going to snap back like that. And then now it's back in single action. And I pull.
But it doesn't go bang. And that's the cool thing about that is the double action plus. I think you hit it right on the money. That was one of the things that I mentioned in the videos that I did with it, is for someone that might be new to carrying, that may not be that person that wants to carry one in the chamber because they're not comfortable. They're not maybe, I don't know, responsible. I would say they're not experienced enough to carry one in the chamber. That's cool.
Yep.
This is a way that you're not having to utilize safety. Now, if you really want to be safe, you can go into double action plus and the thumb safety, and you're going to be safe as anything. But I think for that one person that doesn't want to use a thumb safety, carrying one in the chamber at this point with a double action plus, you pull that double action trigger and it goes back to the single action, but it doesn't go bang. It just takes you back to single action. I love that. I love that about the gun.
Yeah, and the other cool thing is that, like, so bringing this back, it's in double action plus. If I pull the trigger, it snaps back, and I decide. I mean, it's unlikely, but I decide I don't want to pull the trigger all the way. I just push it back, right? And now it's back in double action.
And you're back into it.
So if you were going to fire the gun, you're not going to stage the trigger to that first detent. You're really just going to pull it through like that, and it's going to be one fell swoop. You're not going to even notice that first wall, I guess you could say. But it gives you a lot more options. And here's the thing, for the people who don't like it or are not yet comfortable with it, haven't trained with it, you wouldn't even know it was there.
You don't even have to use it. Absolutely. As far as they're concerned, it's a double action, single action. You're good to go.
Yep. And the whole trigger assembly is extremely smooth. When I joined the team, the first thing I noticed, and everybody else noticed, is how nice the trigger pull is from the factory. And the more rounds you put on it, the nicer it gets. Everything wears. And then that's true for a lot of pistols. But, when I go into these gun stores and I pick up other pistols and I'm selling to some of these gun dealers, everybody has a preferred trigger. And I always find it fascinating. Like, what do you like? And then they hand me the pistol that they like, and I play with it. And I haven't found a trigger that I like better than this one. I would put this on. I mean, we were shooting, we were benchmarking the Vulcan against the, what was it? I think it was a 226 at the range, and the trigger's every bit as good or better than that trigger. So
that's a damn good trigger.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal trigger, and that's a phenomenal gun. It shoots very well. My only beef about the gun is it's unimaginative, right? It's boring. There's nothing exciting about it. So Lionheart, kind of what you're going to see from Lionheart and what you're going to see going forward is taking everything that SIGs put into their gun. Just for them, for example, the performance that you get out of a SIG, but the emotion that you would see out of like a Ferrari, right? We want to have a firearm that you're proud to own. You're spending a lot of money on it. It's not a cheap polymer. It's not a high point. It's a well-made pistol. It takes a lot of time to make these. We use some of the best machinery in the world. We have some of the best team making these in the world, and that's really, really expensive. So we want to make sure that if we're charging what we're charging for these pistols, that you're getting a pistol that not only protects you and potentially could save your life, but something you can pull out of the holster and show at a barbecue and say, and have
and be proud of. Yeah, it's a barbecue gun. You got to be proud of it. I mean, here's the thing, and I talk about this a lot, and people don't understand it. There are great guns out there that I just don't like either the looks of or the feel of. I'm not a big SIG guy. Literally, the only SIG that I'd ever want would be a 226 Legion. Well, I think that looks sexy to me, and it's a great gun. But I'm not a big SIG guy. I'm not saying they're bad guns. But here's the thing. If you don't like the way a gun looks or a gun feels, like you're already having negative thoughts. So that gun's never going to perform how you think it should because you have negative thoughts. But if you're proud of the gun, one of it works great, but you also like the way it looks, and you're proud of it, well, that's just going to make that gun perform better for you. It's just like anything else in life. It is an awesome looking gun.
Yeah, it's all about the confidence when you go to use that tool, whatever it might be, whether it be a firearm, a vehicle, anything at all. You're in the gym and you're under 400 pounds of weight. It's confidence, right? If that
That's right.
if that barbell doesn't feel good in your hands are a little sweaty, you are not going to make that lift. You've got to be confident, and whatever it takes to be confident. Some people don't care about
Yes.
any of the fancy shit. They just want it to go bang, and there's plenty of products for those people.
Yep.
We're for the people who prefer to have a really nice things, top to bottom. Everything of this pistol has been gone through. Everything has been thought up, and that's what you're going to see in the Vulcan. Every little detail. The trigger guard is completely deburred in the machine. We have a 5-axis machine. There's not a single sharp edge, and not a single corner has been worked by hand. As you see the pistol, when you see the pistol launch, and it will be very obvious when you look at that area in particular, it was all done on the machine. And what that means, and I know people love the hand finished idea, but it means that every pistol is exactly the same, down to the micron, which is just another way for us to guarantee that you're getting a quality product that's going to work for you every time you pull the trigger. So that's kind of where the company is going. So instead of it being like a classic firearms company, maybe like you would say Kimber is more of a classic firearms company,
Sure.
And they're trying to change that, of course. But we want to be a modern firearms manufacturer, right? That we still have our heritage in a classic firearm, which is great.
You can pay homage to the classics, but let's upgrade everything. Let's modernize it. 100%. Clove, I want to bring you in real quick. I know that you know Rob as well, but any questions you might have or comments, especially maybe from out in the chat that you want to bring up?
I don't see really anything out there in the chat, but if you guys out there have questions, throw them out there. I'll get them started. We'll get them on the screen. We'll get those questions answered. I guess I'm curious. I mean, back first part or so of 22, I did get to stop by and kind of get a tour of the manufacturing facility there.
Yeah, you did. That was March or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I haven't said anything much about it other than the equipment is awesome and very modern, and just speaking of that aspect of things, haven't really given away the farm, so to speak. But I do remember Rob took me into the office and you showed me some stuff in the CAD. Was that the beginnings of the Vulcan that we were looking at then? I know then you said you couldn't talk too much about it.
You're putting him on the spot now.
Well, I don't remember that long ago.
I would almost have to look back at my pictures from March and see where the gun was in March,
right,
and give you that answer. Because here's the thing, I am an absolute perfectionist. I'm an engineer, right? And when I used to work for other companies, I worked for a firearms training company called FATS, then Megit. Now it's called Inveris. Then they'll be at SHOT Show. We always had deadlines to release. And the way I've always run my businesses, whether it be Exotech or Lionheart, is the product is ready when the product is finished, right? I will not launch a product until I am happy with it. And you say, okay, when is that going to be? And I'm going to say, I can't tell you. I don't know. I keep working on it until I'm happy with it, right?
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I shoot it. So let me look real quick and see if I find any pictures. I'm just looking through my camera roll. So in March, I was working on the barrels, working on the barrel process. And as you know, we have a pretty innovative barrel manufacturing. I won't go too far into it because we could talk about it for a long time, but our barrels are made complete in one machine. So we turn them, we mill them, we drill them, and we rifle them all in the same machine, and nobody else is doing that in the world, actually, that we're aware of. Somebody could be doing it in secret, kind of how we were doing it for years, and we did the Regulus that way too. But I was working on that process. It's a little involved, and I've actually helped some other firearms companies develop their process, because I believe that there's enough business to go around, and if you're a nice guy and you're a competitor, I'm willing to help. It doesn't faze me. I believe that we should compete on the merits of our products.
I love that.
Not how big our dicks are, right? So I was helping him with the barrel back then, but I don't see any pictures of the. Let me see if I see any renders real quick. I have a feeling that the gun has changed quite a bit since then.
Probably, yeah.
Because again, I went back. So, we're small. We're a small company, and kind of our goal and I'm still looking through this. I don't have any renders, so it must have been an early version. So, our goal is to capture attention and market share, right? We're a small company, and we know that. We have a new gun that a lot of people have never heard of, despite the DP51 being out since the 80s. And we know that. We're not going to think that, we launch a pistol and people are going to come buy it in droves. Like, I mean, that would be great. I mean, we would love that. And we spent a lot of money to someday get there. But we're real to the fact that in order to capture that attention that we need, we're going to have to do some pretty wild things. So I was looking at the design that we were going to take. We were going to do a Regulus Mark II. And we've been talking about the Regulus Mark II, and we have been talking to you guys about the Regulus Mark II.
Yeah.
And at some point, it changed from Mark II to an entire new design. Now, I say entirely new. There are some reused components. There's components that have been massaged. You can't design. This has over 60 parts in it. You can't design that, in a year. It's just not for us. It's not possible. SIG maybe, but even for a big company like that throws $5 million at a new platform, it's really challenging to get through.
Well, I think it might be harder with the bigger companies because they've got 17 to 50 different people that had to sign off on each little thing, where you might have 2 or 3.
Yeah, totally, for sure. So I went back I was looking at the pistol, and I'm looking at it in CAD, and I just thinking to myself, we really get one shot at this. We're small enough that, if this gun doesn't sell well, we're going to be in a world of hurt, only in the sense that we've got to design something new. So we've got to go back through all that development time, and we haven't paid back any of the previous development work if the gun doesn't sell well, right? So there's a lot of pressure for us to succeed on this launch. And I wanted to make sure that within the confines of our budget, and within the confines of the time which we wanted to launch a shot, it needed to be an absolute winner. And so, yeah, it's a long way to answer your question. I'm almost certain that the gun that we're launching is not the gun that you saw. It's not. I can't really say how far different it is because I can't remember where it was there. But yeah, we've done some pretty cool things, and everybody who's seen it within the team and everybody I've showed to is very impressed by at least how it looks. They can't shoot it yet because they don't have one in their hands yet. But yeah, so overall we've made some big changes. We've changed the frame is completely new. We've got a modified hammer. We've got a brand new trigger. The slide's completely new. The barrel is, might as well be new. We've made a lot of changes to it. A lot of the internal components have been changed. The magazine is the same mag body, but the base plate is different. So now the new pistol has a flush fit mag, and in order to make a flush fit mag, we got to make a new mag plate base. So if you have a Regulus, you can actually slide the base plate off your old Regulus magazines, and you can slide these new Vulcan base plates on. Yeah. So for customers, at the end of the day, we don't want to alienate our current customers from the Regulus, but at the same time, in order to move forward, we have to take certain products and say, hey, we can't keep this going because it limits our design ability to make it modern, right? And the magazine was that way. So that's new. Let's see what else is new. We have some new optic/irons options there. The takedown lever has been modified. A bunch of the pins have been moved around and changed. On the slide, we've relocated some pins in an effort to remove exposed pins. So when you look at your firearm, you no longer can see the retaining pin that holds the firing pin in anymore. We've moved that vertically instead of horizontally so that it's just not visible. I'm just a stickler for details. Every little detail on here. Every corner has been chamfered in the machine. So this pistol has, I think, between the slide and the frame, we have just the frame alone, we have over 300 operations to machine a frame. And to give you an idea of what an operation is, drilling a hole is one operation. Tapping a hole is another operation. Milling a pocket is one operation. So we have 300 of those operations that are done, and they're all done in a 5-axis machine. So you can see why it's taken us so long between, you've really got to kind of jumping into what it takes. You've really got to develop a firearm, you've got to develop the product itself in CAD, something that you can visualize. Then you've got to develop all the custom tooling. The frame has 13 custom tools. So I had to design each tool, and it has to be custom centered, meaning they're actually like taking a powder, making a mold, molding the tool, and putting it into a 5-axis grinder that can grind submicron and grinding the tool. I did like 13 tools to make the frame. Then you've got to build the fixture, and there's the first step of the fixture, which is we do all the bottom stuff. I just didn't make it simple. And then there's the second operation of the fixture, or the second part of the fixture, which is all the top stuff. We do it in 2 setups, or 2 fixturings, as some people would call it. And then there's a material prep, which is actually the very, very first one. I forgot to say that. So we add a dovetail to the blank of metal, and the dovetail is just so we can hold on to it. We can just grip the bottom. We're just gripping the frame at the very bottom so we can access all this stuff. So essentially, we mill that dovetail in the first operation. That's a custom fixture we had to make. Then we had to make the second fixture that holds that dovetail. That's a custom fixture. Then we had to make the third fixture that holds everything else in this orientation so we can get down in here and mill out for the hammer or for the trigger and finish up the mag well. So there's all those, and that's just the frame. And that doesn't include testing. That doesn't include writing the programs for the CMM to QC it. Then you gotta do all the same things with the slide all over again. And the barrel's a little easier in the sense that because it's a lathe itself, it's kind of self-fixturing. It's held by collets. You don't have as much custom fixturing, but the lathe is much more complicated to set up because you have multiple turrets, 11 axis in the lathe versus 5 on the CNC. So, lots. That's a long way to say that. Yeah, we made a lot of changes, but I think you'd really like it if you saw it.
Yeah, it's nuts, and I know we've only got you for a few more minutes, guys. He's been working 12, 14-hour days for I don't even know how long to get ready for shot, and not saying that's preparing for shot, but getting everything ready for the product, making sure that it's ready to go for shot. And so I don't want to keep you too much longer, but the kind of cool thing you kind of touched on a little bit, and I think it'd be interesting if you've got a few more minutes to talk about this. By the way, we're going to have Rob back on after shot. What I want to do with Rob after shot is maybe talk about what it took for LIONHEART to prepare for shot, how did shot go, and then what are the next couple of months after shot going to be looking like. And we won't know those answers until the next 2 weeks are over, but definitely going to have you back on. But I know you got to go here in a little bit, but if you've got a few minutes, I think that maybe the audience might be interested in talking about, obviously, you've got so many different variations of even just in this past few months of what the gun has become. Just in basic terms, you don't have to go too technical, but basically from concept to release to market, for the Vulcan at least, when did the idea of it started out as, like you said, the Regulus Mark II, but the idea of the next gun, when did that idea happen and how long ago did that happen, so we can kind of get an idea of the timetable here?
You're not going to like this answer. We've been working on the next generation of pistol since before the Regulus was even launched.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's concept. So that's in CAD. That's talking amongst the design team to say, hey, what do we want to do? And we actually have it kind of went a roundabout way, but we designed an entirely new pistol, and then took a couple of steps back and realized, being small, we didn't have the resources, mainly being time and money, to develop a pistol from the ground up. It takes just an obscene amount of money. Even what we did is an obscene amount of money.
Right.
So we went back to the drawing board. We launched the Regulus, and then I think right around the time of the Regulus launch, we launched the Regulus, and then I said, well, we've got to launch this new pistol in SHOT Show 2023, and we're not gonna be able to get this one done. So I went back and we talked, me and the design team, and I do some of the design, but it's a team of us. And we said, let's simplify this and make it something that we can do within a year. So we did, and that's when I got to the point where I was like, I looked at the pistol and I was like, this is not enough. It's really just a warmed over Regulus, and there's nothing wrong with the Regulus, but we really need to captivate attention. We need to get in magazine.
If you've moved on from calling it the Regulus Mark II, then it doesn't need to be a warmed up Regulus. It needs to be a separate actual gun. Absolutely. Yeah.
But that happened kind of the same time. We just decided that while we love the Regulus, it needs to be modernized, and as much modernization as we did, it could no longer be called the Regulus because it didn't look like the Regulus. Now, if you know the Regulus and you see this new pistol, you'll see Regulus in it some, but not a lot. There's a lot of give you a clue that you can no longer see the trigger bar anymore. The ergonomics are completely different. The ergonomics are that of no other OEM pistol that's ever existed ever. The grips are that of no other pistol that you've ever seen before.
And I kind of dug the grips and the stippling pattern that you had on the Regulus. I thought that was a really innovative. So now you got me intrigued, man. You really got me thinking.
You like that one, you'll like this one even more.
Oh, man.
Some of the work, I mean, once I can show you some of the work on the new texturing on the pistol and the grips. When I showed my programmer what we had done, he just looked at me like he wanted to kill me. I mean, just the programming effort to program just the freaking texture is obscene. And that's been, I mean, I wish that I had a marketing guy. I wish I could afford a marketing guy to just follow me around like you see on YouTube and shit. And show the day in the life of Lionheart, because it's kind of comical. We have a lot of inside jokes about how challenging everything is, and you know, I'm responsible for a lot of that. Like I talked to you a little bit offline.
Sure.
I am really particular, right? I have a certain way I want things, and I have designers that help me, right? I have a pistol engineer who's been working in the industry forever. Two of them actually, a designer and an engineer, and you know, and I'm an engineer too, but I know nothing compared to those guys when it comes to pistols. So you know, I do a lot of the non-pistol particular design, and then I leave that rest of it up to the experts. And we all work as a team, but you know, so when they send me a design, I go back through it, and that's what I did when I had the remember I told you about the Regulus that we wanted to launch for this year. We had to make it simpler, but then it didn't look different enough. So I actually took that model and I started. It's like, think about a sculpting. I started cutting and shaping and doing all kinds of stuff, getting to what I wanted. And I didn't know what the end result was, but I knew some things that I wanted. And overall, I had a general idea of the direction I wanted to head. So I got it to where I wanted it, sent it back to my designers. They prettied it up because it's like I was like sculpting with a chainsaw, if that makes sense, right?
No, I hear you.
Yeah, they're better at 3D modeling than I am. So I got overall I was able to convey my idea. It was like digitally sketching, send it back to them. They send it back to me. So I think you'll really love. I think you'll really love the design. I mean, I have a slide here. We posted this on Instagram, so this is not like anything proprietary, I guess, of that. But like even like, I don't know if y'all can see this, but even this engraving.
Yeah, actually, I can click on you real quick here. Hold on here.
Even this engraving.
There we go. How about that?
Yeah, I wish I could.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Even this engraving, we spent, I won't even tell you how much time we spent getting the engraving right, the right width, the right depth. It's actually tapered because this cut, oops, which hand am I using? It's weird when you're doing this on a camera. So this hand. So this backwards. This cut, this angled surface tapers it tapers bigger towards the front and smaller towards the rear.
Yeah.
You know, getting that to line up and getting it to be in line with all that, getting the chevrons the right spacing, all that stuff. And then you notice that this cut
thing looks badass. I'm not gonna lie.
So if you notice this cut right here, this face right here, this angled face, notice that there's radii that connect that angled face. There's radii at the top corner and there's radii at the bottom. Look at your pistol. Any of the pistols you own, they're sharp corners that they've tumbled. Or they come back with another cutter and knock that corner off. What we've done is we've used an end mill and we've run back and forth hundreds and hundreds of times while we're rotating this over to shape that ball. Because at work, you can't use a custom tool because it's essentially this face is narrower on this end than it is on this end. So the profile there's no constant profile you can run a cutter down. So this is all we call it surface milling. It's where you take an end mill that's got a ball like a lollipop and you run it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And the reason why nobody else does it is because it's extremely time consuming, and time is money, right? These 5-axis machines bill out at $150, $250 an hour. And it's just, you're talking about minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes for just one radius, not even one slide. But this is the gun. I built the gun that I want, right? This is like every gun owner's dream, is to have a firearms company where you can build what you dream of, right? And this is what it does. This is what I want. Does everybody else want it? I guess we're going to find out in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But those little details. And then, for example, so we have the serrations, these chevrons, which are reminiscent of the Regulus, right? This is the Regulus.
But those are even more. Yeah, I would say they're a little more dramatic. They look, from my eyes, they look deeper too. I love that thing. That's badass looking.
There's actually 2 cuts. So we used a flat end mill to make the primary cut, and then we used a ball end mill. We went down in it again and made a secondary cut. And what that does, crazy. Not only does it look cool, right, but really it gives you, there's 4 edges for your fingers to hold on to, because as the meat of your finger buries in there, you've got 4 edges. So we actually talked about how we were gonna deburr those corners a little bit, because they're very, very aggressive. But we like aggressive serrations. A lot of people like aggressive serrations, and
I do.
Also the sights. These sights are now. Oops.
Here, let me get you over here real quick. Here we go.
These sights are much smaller, so we're no longer using the SIG sight or the 1911 sights. These are SIG style dovetails in ours, and that just makes the overall profile of the pistol smaller. Look at the let me get the rotation right this way. Look at the extraction port, right? Like, even see this angle, that angle right there. It takes a really tiny end mill to make those corners, and that whole port is chamfered all the way around. Nobody else is doing that. There's nobody else with this level of detail that's putting it into here. So I'm not trying to toot our own home, but I want people to understand why it took us this long. And I also want people to understand, why is the gun as expensive as it is? Because some people don't have an eye for the details, which is fine. I am, what do you want to say? Poisoned by the details. It drives me crazy. I can't just let it go. Even though when you've got to just hey, Rob, it's good enough, let's run with it. I can't. It's gotta be done right.
Now, there has to come a point, though, and I'm sure this is where you fight the demons all the time. There's got to come a point you're just like, okay, don't overthink this. We've got to get this to market eventually, so I've got to stop and be happy at some point. I know that's tough for you, I'm sure.
That's what Curtis does. I mean, Rob Curtis.
So, in case you guys don't know, we call them the Robs. Rob, when you hear Curtis, it's Rob Curtis, who's a buddy of ours as well. But yeah, I think that Rob's been around the industry for a long time. He almost probably has to be kind of your support mechanism to kind of maybe keep you, how do you say this, riled in a little bit, to make sure that you don't go too nuts.
Yeah. Rob
he earns his money, doesn't he?
He does. Rob is an asset, and he calls it like he sees it. He'll call me out, and I appreciate that. I'm a straight shooter. I'll tell you how it is, and so I appreciate people who do the same thing. It's say, Rob, this is not necessary, or Rob, we shouldn't do this, or let's run with it. But I will say, where we wanted to go back and maybe play with some of the internals and maybe adjust the reset a tad, maybe adjust the take up a tad. When you start messing with that part of the trigger train, as we call it, you open up a can of worms that you have no idea. Those changes in and of itself could take another year to finally prove out and then get through testing. So that was where Rob drew the line. Rob Curtis drew the line. Said, Rob, we can't. And I did too, because we can't afford to be in development for another year, because this is our only product. We don't have a catalog of 50 pistols. So but it's been really stressful. I'd love to say it's been fun. It has its moments, but the stress kind of overwhelms the fun of it. The fun is going to SHOT Show and then getting the feedback and seeing what people think. I think that it's this big lead up to SHOT Show. I wish we could launch a pistol every year, but I would have a lot more gray hairs. You can't really see them, but I've got a lot more gray hairs in my beard.
Oh, you mean like that?
Yeah. In my beard, just in my beard for some reason. I don't know.
I hear you. What kind of a couple quick questions. One of the questions out there from our buddy Lance at Off the X, he had asked price point. What are we looking for MSRP for the Vulcan?
So we're gonna be around $1,200.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured. That's about right. Sure.
Whoa, that's
Yeah, somewhere around there.
cheaper than I
That's
thought.
actually a little bit better than I thought.
Yeah.
I thought it could be a 14
Yeah.
or 15, maybe.
Right.
You can get it up there if you option it up. We've got a fancy trigger. We've got a fancy hammer. We've got some better coatings. We will offer a PVD coated pistol that's fucking sick. Yeah, all PVD coated. And that's going to be our high end model. The nice thing, so these come with optics now, and so one of the consequences to make such a fancy freaking slide.
You said they come with optics, or they come with optic plates? They actually come with optics. Okay. Wow.
So we may offer a version with optic installed.
Sure.
And the reason why is what I'm getting at. When you make a fancy slide like this, you need to make a fancy cover plate. So our cover plate follows that contour, which means we got a 5-axis machine those profiles in a cover plate. And what do people do with a cover plate when they put an optic on? Yeah,
they're gone.
Yeah. So I'd like to offer a version. If you want the Hollow Sun 507, you go to our website, you pick that model. It comes installed. It's sighted in because we test all our pistols. We test them all before.
Now, would you send the cover plate with the gun anyways, just in case they decide to take the optic off, or it's one or the other?
I would say no. We haven't finalized.
They could probably go on the website and buy that individually if they needed to, couldn't they?
Yeah, we probably just, I don't think enough people are going to want it. We would just, if somebody wanted it, they could just reach out to us and say, hey, I need a cover plate. And we would just
there you go.
Them off. But here's the reason why. If they buy the pistol with the optic installed, we can save them all that money from the cover plate. And then that cover plate, it's probably a $50 or $60 cover plate, right? So the bigger companies, are mimming those cover plates, but mimming has some downsides. The molds are really, really expensive. We're already over budget on this project, so we're not making a mold.
I love the fact that you just throw it out there. We're already over budget.
Yeah, for sure.
The budget went out the window 6 months ago, probably.
It went out the yeah, pretty much. And mimming is not going to give you the detail that we need on the outside to make it look good. There's nothing wrong with mimming from a mechanical point of view because we use MIM parts in our product. Mimming in 2020 is a phenomenal process, but it's not. It's just an expensive. When you want something fancy, like when you buy parts, and I hate to keep making this analogy because we're not Ferrari, but I'll make it because everybody understands it. When you buy a new seatbelt from Ferrari, I have no idea what it costs. I don't own a Ferrari, never have, but let's say a seatbelt for your Suburban costs $150. That same seatbelt for the Ferraris can cost you $800 because they only made 500 of them, whatever they made. We're in that unfortunate boat. Like we would love to be selling 20,000 pistols and sell these at $999 or some rate that would just blow everybody out of the water, but we don't have the economies and scale to do it. So, but yeah, as far as the price point goes, we mentioned SIG. The SIG Legion is actually what we've benchmarked this gun against because and I love SIG. I think they're a phenomenal company. I think they make phenomenal products. But that's kind of our target. We want to be competitive with SIG, but we want to be better, right? Because when the underdog comes and shows up, they can't be just as good. They have to be better. And so the way that we're positioning ourselves to be better is just by making more of a desirable pistol, right? Because the SIGs already shoot so damn well. So we're shooting as good. Some people might say we shoot better. Some people might say that the SIG shoot better. But if you have people arguing over who shoots better, then you're right fucking there, right?
Exactly.
So then what can we improve on? Well, there's a lot to be improved on the SIG from ergonomics, aesthetics, features and functions that are not directly related to firing. And that's what we've done. We've taken those things. So our optics requires no adapters. There's no cover plates, not cover plates. There's no shims. There's no adapters. We're direct mount for 4 or 5 different optics.
And that was a question that just was popped up in the chat. Obviously, I said, is there an adapter plate or directly to the slide? So this is directly to the slide, which is crazy. Let me go ahead and Solo layout. There you go. Yeah, Snob
Yeah,
says so. Adapter plates suck. They do.
yeah.
Because
So the cool
they
about
say it's
this,
going to work for this, it's going to work for that, it's going to work for this. Very rarely do they ever work with the optics that you need it to work with, you know?
yeah. Well, I can tell you, I have all the optics. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 optics sitting next to me. Now, they're not all compatible with all 14, but those are the optics that we've been designing around. Some of them got shit canned
Yeah.
because they're too big, like the Delta Loop, the Delta Point Pro, which I think is a phenomenal optic. I think Leupold's done an absolutely phenomenal job designing the optic, except for the button. I hate the button, but the battery compartment, the glass, everything about it, I really do like. But it's huge, and we have a narrow profile pistol. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll fit on your polymer frame striker fired guns because they're huge. They're really wide. But compared to ours, our slide's only an inch wide versus the 1.2 inch you'll find in your Glocks.
Right.
So we just couldn't fit it. I mean, we could, but it would look like a tumor. Same with the aim point. The aim point acro, like they use the dovetail fit, so it actually clamps. It clamps around the outside like this, and
Okay.
it just looks so bad. It gets hung up on stuff. So a lot of those that I have over there, we shoehorn or we shit can them, but all the sites that we say it's compatible with have been on this pistol, right?
Okay.
So we'll
So you
include,
know they're compatible.
yeah, and we'll include all the pins, screws, everything you need for every optic that we make. So yeah, the gun's not compatible with 50 different optics, but we've picked the best optics for our pistol and made it compatible with those. End of story, right? Like,
End of story.
you want to put
Absolutely.
monster truck tires on your Civic? No. Could you? Yeah, but so
Man, that could be interesting.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Now,
But to
now
give you an
Clover
idea,
did see an El Camino jacked up with
I mean, that's
monster
kind of
tires
cool.
on it. And it was like
That's kind of
18 color primer, wasn't it, Clover?
Yeah. Had stacks in the bed. I mean,
I mean,
it was not only a jacked up 4-wheel drive, it was a jacked up 4-wheel drive dually
oh, a
El Camino
dually El
with
Camino.
stack.
Yes, yes.
cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hardly an El Camino anymore,
That
but
was
I like
South
it.
Carolina for you.
Oh yeah.
They can get crazy in South Carolina.
Well, if you think about it, it's got a short profile, right? So it. I mean, if you have the underpinnings of a truck, it might be pretty good at off roading.
Who knows? It looks badass, though, you know.
Yeah.
Clove, real quick, I know before you head out, Rob, Clove, or any other questions or anything that you want to cover up real quick before he heads out?
Yeah, I think we got everything squared away. The last one was about the optics mount, so we got that covered.
Yeah, I see that the gun snob mentioned screw every footprint but the RMR and the RMSC. So he'll be happy to know that, yeah, that's what we said. So, I mean, here's the RMRCC fitted on there. You notice there's no gap or anything like that. But then you can even take the, where is my Holosun? Well, I don't have, the Holosun's in the box right now, but you'll have to forgive me. But it uses the same footprint as the shield. There's the shield. See how low that thing sits?
Oh,
But
wow.
you
Yeah,
notice
sure.
there's a gap in the back. Well, we actually have a trim plate that pops in there and is held by one screw. It's held by one screw and it holds the
That's
trim
crazy.
plate down, and then it makes the gun still look super sexy, and you've got your optic. So if you look at this, and I'm trying not to let the optic fall off because I haven't mounted it, but it's super low. So your sight radius stays very, very close to your optic radius, and the sights are all co-witness. They're a lower third co-witness to your optic, which means that your irons are not going to block your optic, but they're still in the window. They're just below where your
Yep.
red dot would be. So they have, I like to refer to it, and it's a little complicated, but they have the same point of impact if you adjust them. So the optic, I'm sorry, and from the factory it'll be adjusted this way. They have the same point of impact and a different point of aim, right? So to aim with the irons, you'd raise the pistol up a little bit higher and then tilt the muzzle down, and that would give you the angle you need. And it's natural. You don't have to think about it. You just have to imagine. I'm just helping you imagine it. So you've got,
That's
you've
right.
basically got two lines that converge. Two lines that converge, right? The upper line is your optic. The lower line is your irons, essentially, and they all converge at 25 yards. And the closer those two are together, the longer they'll stay convergent for, right? But when you have these guys stack their freaking optics, if you've all been to the range, and some of you guys have, and we all have optics that are stacked high. The higher you stack your optic above your irons,
You get a
the narrower.
holdover and everything else.
So your pistol's only going to be accurate. And we're taught, we are like splitting hairs here, but it's going to be less accurate at a wider variety of ranges than if you have a optic that's very, very close to your irons.
Yeah. I don't even want to acknowledge this, but our buddy Pickle out in California says this is available in California. Just move, bro. Like there's only like 12 guns available in the state of California. Move. Like,
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. Either move or don't ask, because we all know the answer to that.
Even if it was legal in California, I have big regards about selling anything to California. I have a long story. I
You
won't
have
bore
to.
you guys with.
Yeah. It sounds bad, but they've dug themselves in a hole, you know.
It's not even guns. They're just super litigious about everything. You know, on my other company, the survival company Exotech, we got threatened to be sued for not complying with Prop 65, and we, you know, I could argue that all day long, but it's basically legal extortion. They're doing that for multiple things over there. I just want nothing to do with California at all in any parts of any of my businesses.
That's crazy that it extends into other industry and stuff as well.
It is, because it's the way they write the laws. They allow civilians to sue if it becomes, you know, a civil. So the criminal laws can be expanded into civil. I'm no attorney, but you know what's traditionally reserved for the state to sue businesses for non-compliance, now consumers can sue. So what they do is they go, for example, and I'll just do it real quick because I don't want people to be confused. But they basically said our fire starters expose you to carbon monoxide and soot because they start a fire. And we needed to label our products to say they could expose you to carbon monoxide or soot. Well, so is everything in this world that can start a fire. A lighter, matches, your fireplace, any logs, anything you split wood, that wood should have a sticker on it. If you split wood and you sell it in the store of California, it needs to have a Prop 65 sticker on it.
Wow.
And so what they do is they go to like a company like REI, they go to the section that's all fire starting, or you know, camp and cookware is actually the category, and they pick a product off of every peg and they buy samples and they literally look up the legal address and they mail them a letter and they sue them and say, pay me 20 grand or I'm going to sue you. And they know the lawsuit's going to cost over 100 grand. So guess what? 20 grand, 20 grand, 20 grand, 20 grand, 20 grand from all these companies. And you can look this all up. It's all public information. It's all on the websites.
Wow.
That's extortion and one hell of a racket, by the way.
It's a huge racket. And I was so upset when it happened. You know, like we're small, we're super small.
And they know, and they, like you said, they know this. They know that, unfortunately, it's easier for you to spend 20 grand than 100 grand on a lawsuit.
Yes. You know, in a future life, if I had Elon Musk FU money, I would have literally just taken it to court just to see that guy.
Yeah.
And just for the purpose of it. You know what I mean? Just for the fuck of it. So anyway, long story short, I love California as a state from a geographic point of view and from visiting, but the politics are just, they're
100%. At least Calaveras is smart enough to know that you are smart. So yes, he's incredibly intelligent. You don't understand. I'm just a dumb crayon eater, and I literally feel very self-conscious being on the same air as this guy. But no, he's very intelligent. Yeah, it's not hard to tell. But yeah, this is one of those that Chris out there, that's funny. This video has been known to cause cancer in the state of California. This is true. I know that you got to go real quick. I want to give you a few minutes to kind of talk to the audience out there and tell where they can find you, websites. I know you're over on Instagram and Facebook and all that. If they need to get a hold of you through email or something, maybe, I don't know if you want to, but if you have a customer service or an info email that they can get a hold of, they want to ask questions, go ahead. I want to give you a few minutes to kind of plug the business and all of your, and I'll have all the links and all that into the description here after the podcast is over. But yeah, for sure. Go ahead and plug your company and plug your social medias or anything they need to know about you and the company.
Yeah, so you can go to our website, www.lionheartindustries.com. We're going to be launching a new website here. That's the website that I guess it still remains after the acquisition, which happened about 2 years ago. So we're working on a new website, on a new platform. We're working on improving the photos. So the website's it's okay. That's one way you can reach us. There's a contact us form there. The VIP contact which we don't put on there, but for you guys are all VIP, is We Care.
Woo-hoo!
It's just We Care at LionHeartIndustries.com. And that usually goes to Rob Curtis. And then he kind of distributes it out to whoever needs to see it from there. Instagram, I don't go on Facebook very much. I try to, we're just so busy, and same with Rob. But Instagram is the best channel if you want to interact with us. We post on the stories. I'll post teasers. You can see manufacturing stuff. I've talked about doing some live. I keep talking about doing a live every Friday and showing the manufacturing.
Oh, man, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a time thing right now. We're just in a big time crunch, but hopefully after SHOT Show, I know people dig it. I dig it. I've always loved manufacturing. That's why I'm here. But you get to see, obviously not just me, but you get to see the programming team. You see the machines run. We even go over like some of the challenges here and there. So that's what we've talked about. But if we do that, it'd be Instagram and YouTube. We don't really have an active YouTube channel yet. There again, it's a time thing, but that's the best way to reach us. And then just keep an eye out for this launch. You'll see some information on Instagram. Hopefully it'll be hard to miss. Hopefully it'll capture enough attention at SHOT Show that you'll see it written about in the blogs, whatever blogs you guys read. Hopefully it'll be written about in those. But yeah, all I ask is give us a chance, give us a try. Get a hold of a pistol from your local dealer, from a friend, whoever you can find it from. And we're still working on penetrating the markets and getting them to dealers. It's hard to do because the dealers want you guys to reach out and say, hey, we want this pistol before they'll carry it. They won't just carry the pistol. As good as it is, they've just been screwed too many times. So they want to hear it from the customer. So if you like the pistol and you're interested in one, tell your local dealer, hey, can you bring the Lionheart Vulcan in? Now,
can someone's local gun shop buy directly from you guys, or they need to go through a distributor?
No, we don't sell through distributors. We like to keep the family close, so the best way is just to have dealer reach out to us directly. We have low minimums. Like we're trying to get out there. We're trying to get our name known, so we don't have a $50,000 minimum purchase like some of the bigger companies do. You can buy one pistol from us as a dealer, and that's our thank you for checking into the brand and checking out the pistol, and we'll stand behind it just the same as if you bought 50 pistols. So yeah, tell your dealers if you're interested. Tell your dealers to carry one. We don't yet have a range program yet, but it's something we like to talk about maybe towards the end of this year, is setting a range demo so we can distribute. What that is we distribute pistols to these dealers who have ranges at a very, very steep discount. They put it on the range and let you guys rent it. It's usually $5 or $10 to rent them. So we're working on that, but it won't be until we're in full production.
Absolutely. Clove, I want to give you a few minutes to ask any last questions to Rob or anything like that before we head out. Before Rob heads out, we're not going to head out, but Rob will have to head out here in a little bit, I think. But do you have anything?
I'm good. We're getting an echo.
Get an echo. Yeah, we are getting an echo. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. All right. So, Rob, we will see you in a couple of weeks. I can't wait to see you again, brother. Thanks for coming on. And we're definitely going to have you on after SHOT. But anything closing you want to talk about before you head out? We're good to go.
No, I really appreciate you having us or having me on. It means a lot. You guys have been here since the very beginning.
Always.
And keep this going. We appreciate loyal followers more than you know.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see you in a couple weeks, my friend, and we'll have to have a drink or something and relax for a second.
Would love to. What days are you going to be there?
We get in Saturday, and we'll leave. I'll leave Friday afternoon.
Oh, you're there all week.
Yeah.
Be there all week.
Cool. Yeah, come. I can't wait to show it to you in person and see. If
I can't wait either.
See if it holds up to how I've sold it.
I'm sure it'll be fine, bro.
Thanks again. I appreciate it. Safe travels getting to SHOT Show, and we'll talk soon. Thanks to everybody who watched the podcast. We really do appreciate it, and keep a lookout for the launch.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you very much.
All right. Take care, guys. Be safe.
You got it. Be safe. All right, that was Rob from Lionheart. Rob's a great guy. Obviously, we've already established incredibly intelligent and all of that. But yeah, it was great to have him on for the hour and talk about the new Vulcan 9. And I can't wait to get my hands on it in person. I've got the Regulus, and I love that gun. but the Vulcan kind of seems like it's going to be a step up and everything. So, yeah, the Echo's going. I think it was fine the whole time. Maybe something happened on his end there at the end, but yeah. But thanks for Rob for coming in for sure. Let's go through the polls real quick. Clover, you got a second to hang out for a minute?
Well, of course. What else am I going to do?
I mean, what else we gonna do? We got no life, yeah. So you guys know that every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday we go through our Ghost Tactical polls over in our YouTube community tab. We have a little fun with it. So let's get to these real quick. Last Thursday, let's see here, 2.2 thousand votes. This was of these, which would you most like to visit? Excuse me, the Grand Canyon, the Statue of Liberty, Mount Rushmore, or the White House. Clove, which one of those would most interest you?
Read them again. Statue of Liberty, Mount Rushmore, the White House,
and Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon. Been there. Man, that's tough. Statue of Liberty would require going to New York.
This is true.
Right.
That is the downside of it, possibly.
But then the White House requires going to D.C., right?
I know a lot. I love DC. I'm a big history guy. I love DC. Now I know that the laws and all of that are kind of iffy in DC, but as far as a city, I really enjoy DC.
So let me ask you this. I'm going to get real technical. So when you say go to the Statue of Liberty, I'm assuming you mean you're able to go on tours. You're not just going.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So literally going into the White House, not just like looking at it from the ground.
Not walking past on Pennsylvania Avenue. Actually doing a White House tour. Yeah,
probably that would be pretty neat. There's a lot of history in DC, like you said. First of all, Smithsonian's there. There's a lot of cool stuff.
A lot of cool stuff. Yeah,
and then being able to go in because there's a lot of cool stuff in there too. So I think maybe that. I think there'd be more to see that way. Statue of Liberty. I mean, even if you walk up it, you know, what I mean, what do you get?
I mean, you're looking out at the ocean, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot more to see just all around, not only inside the White House, but the city. So probably the White House.
Yeah. I would probably go White House, followed closely probably by Mount Rushmore. Now, here's the thing with Mount Rushmore. I don't think I'd want to do a tour because once again, what are you going to do? Like, you know, I don't even know if there is a tour going inside the faces of Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore is something that I definitely have on my bucket list. I just think that is an engineering marvel, really. I think it's cool as hell. I would like to go see Mount Rushmore before I die. But yeah, taking the White House tour, probably. Been to the Grand Canyon and all that. And it's amazing. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, the White House tour would be cool, followed by Mount Rushmore, probably. Statue of Liberty, you know, it probably comes last on my list, to be honest with you, for a lot of reasons. I have no desire to go to New York. I think the Statue of Liberty is cool, but whatever. 2.2 thousand votes. 62% of you said the Grand Canyon. I get that. I've been there.
It's definitely got to be on the bucket list. You know what I mean? If
you've never been to the Grand Canyon, go to the Grand Canyon. It's beautiful. Literally, there was an old thing. I don't remember what it was on, but someone said one time that the reason why there's such a huge charge and why there's no such thing anymore as one-way car rentals is because they'd all end up in Vegas or the Grand Canyon. And that's probably true. All rental cars, if you could just drive one way and not be charged for the whole trip, and you could just drop them off wherever, they'd all end up in Vegas or the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon is spectacular. It really is. It is truly something you must see in your life. 100%. I don't disagree with that. 62% say Grand Canyon. 22% say Mount Rushmore. 9% say Statue of Liberty, and only 8% say they want to go to the White House. Now, I have to tend to believe that a lot of that has to do with actually going to D.C. and the craziness that's there. But if you take all that out of the equation and just say going on a White House tour would be kind of badass. Just saying.
Well, or the political thing, right?
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
the
people
political
are
thing.
just
Yeah.
so
Sure.
polarized with politics or whatever. It's
Sure.
like, or FJB or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to no Biden White House. It's the White House. There's history there. Like,
Yes.
get over yourself. That's my opinion.
100%. Absolutely. Next question, 1.6 thousand votes. Of these, what's your most important gun goal for 2023? Your options: buy more guns, stock up on ammo, take a training class, or other. 1.6 thousand votes. Clover, do you have a kind of a gun goal for 2023?
Once again, I was out in the chat, not paying attention. Give me the.
The choices are buy more guns, stock up on ammo, take a training class, which I think is what you're going to pick, and then
Yeah.
other. Do you have
Man, let's
a
go
gun
other.
goal?
'Cause I don't plan on
Yeah.
buying anything.
Yeah.
So maybe experience more. There's certainly a lot of stuff coming down the line in 23. So
Yeah.
hopefully I'll at least get some experience with that. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, spending money's not in the cards, and that's all I'll say about training.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, Marcus wants to know, have any of you seen this Tombstone 9mm lever action rifle? I don't know how I feel about it. I like it, but I think it's ridiculous. It's kind of like a moth attracted to a flame with that thing.
It's
I don't.
POF, man. So that's
That's the new POF one, right?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the new. That's
I
Frank's
want to
last
say that's
design.
Frank's last design, right?
Yep, yep.
Yep.
So I get the point with it. It's interesting. I think there's going to be no doubt it's quality because it's POF.
Oh,
You know
100%.
what I mean? So it's
100%.
going to be a solid. It's going
It's
to be a
also going to
solid
cost you a
rifle.
little bit of money, but you're going to get what you pay for
Yeah.
100%.
It's going to be a solid rifle, no doubt. Frank has never designed garbage, and POF does not machine garbage. So,
Yeah.
that said, I do get it. It's a little bit goofy. Um, it's different, and I think that it's a play because first of all, interesting and goofy and all of that can still be fun. I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
let's be honest.
Yep.
But I think it's also a play on the whole 50 state legal and everything.
Yep.
Because if
Yeah.
you
Oh,
if you
absolutely.
notice they are producing, they do have magazines in varying capacities. So
Yeah. Now, and you know this, you were closer to Frank than I was. I met him a couple times, but you were closer to him than I was. But I know even from my dealings with him, there was a part of him that was fu to all of that.
Patriot 180% Frank was a
Right.
Patriot. Like
But there was a part of him that the 50 state compatibility was a thing to him.
yeah,
For another reason, it
it's
was
a
more
thumb
of,
in the
more of a
nose.
challenge. You know what I'm saying? It was more of a
Yeah.
challenge to him.
Yeah, like thumb in the nose, right? And
Exactly.
Frank was that kind of guy. So I mean, it totally makes sense that that's something POF would put out, and the motive behind it being the whole,
Yeah.
we're gonna make this happen whether you like it or not.
Yep. As far as my gun goals, I'm kind of where you are, and I've been saying this for a long time. I'd like to get a revolver in 2023, and it might be that damn zinc bullpup if that comes to fruition. I don't know. I'm gonna go check it out at SHOT Show, but if that thing actually has a working model, that'd be tough to turn down. But for me, it would probably be expanding. I did a lot of expanding my mind this year. People don't realize how much into 1911s I got this year. I've got 3 of them now. That is odd because I was never a 1911 guy, but a carry 1911 is great, which will be some videos coming out on that. Plus, I got a couple 10mm 1911s this year, so those are great. So expanding. I'm not saying changing. I'm never going to be a FUD, but I will say that expanding my interests and being open to different things and newer things. I definitely want to say that. I mean, obviously, I'm going to buy more guns. I am going to stock up on some ammo. I'm going to take some training classes. But I think for me, the biggest one would be to, like you said, experience some newer stuff. Be willing to experience some different things in our industry and all of that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for as well. 45% of the 1.6 thousand votes said stock up on ammo. 29% say buy more guns, 21% say take a training class, and 5% say other. And a lot of those, well, there was a bunch of different things. A lot of them were kind of like we said, try something new, or it was, I want to say D, all of the above is what a lot of the comment, that kind of comment and all of that. So yeah, and we've been talking to some industry people that are friends of ours, especially in the lead up to SHOT Show, and there is a little bit. I don't think anyone's nervous, but there is some scuttlebutt from a lot of the industry people that are really unsure of what 2023 is going to be like, as far as the buying power of the consumer in the firearm industry. No one's really sure what's going to happen. And so there is a little bit of that. So if you have the money and you have the ability, make a point to go and support some of your favorite industrial companies, manufacturer companies that are putting guns out this year, and make sure that you're supporting them, because we don't know what 2023 is going to be like. It's going to be interesting the next couple of years until the next presidential election. I don't know. So yeah, do that for sure. Our last kind of goes into what we're going to talk about next with Clover and I. But our last question in the poll was put out yesterday. It's got over 800 votes. What kind of podcast do you listen to? And your choices are kind of gun 2A podcasts, and sports podcast, military podcast, or business podcast, or other. Clover's a lot like me. My podcasting, very little goes to the gun and 2A stuff, not because I don't care. It's just I'm listening to podcasts. A lot of podcasts I listen to are military, or they're sports, or entrepreneurial, or comedy, or something like that. Very few of them are gun/2A podcasts. Usually the ones I listen to like that are my buddies' podcasts, my friends of mine that are in the podcast world and do live streams and all of that. For you, Clover, do you have a niche that you find yourself listening to most on podcast form?
So did you give options on that? I didn't hear.
Yeah, gun or 2A podcast. That's one of them.
That's a no.
Sports ball podcast.
No.
Military podcast.
No.
Business podcast.
No.
Or other.
Yeah, it'd have to be other.
Yeah.
I tend to gravitate toward now. Let me back up and say that our fellow creators out there, our colleagues, like those I do. I do get into to watch later playlist. A lot of times they play in the background while I'm doing things or whatever to get them watch time and other things. But if you're talking about like actively listening, I don't know what category you'd put it in, but I tend to gravitate more toward the casual conversational podcasts.
Sure.
And by that, I mean Joe Rogan, Bill Maher,
just
that type
random.
of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Joe Rogan Experience, and what is Bill Maher's? Club Random.
Yep.
But even then, it depends on the guest. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah,
like there's some guests I can absolutely care less about. I'm not. It's like no way. I care less about a conversation, with that person. But I'm in the middle of a Neil deGrasse Tyson one with Rogan now. That at some point I missed, and it's like it's awesome. I mean, I'm big into space. I watch a lot of when you're talking about content, not necessarily podcast, right?
Sure.
I watch a lot of science and space and things like that. So yeah.
I'm not going to say I don't like Rogan's podcast. I do like Rogan's podcast, but I get tired of Rogan's podcast. Let's be honest.
Depends on who it is.
That's what I'm saying. It depends on who it is. I'm not one of those people that are going to make sure I go listen to every episode of Rogan, but I'm going to go check out who's on. Yeah. I tell you one, I've talked about this before. If you haven't checked out recently, I don't say recently, it was recent, last month or so, the Rogan interview with Steven Crowder. Two very intelligent guys, two very outspoken guys. I'm a big fan of Crowder. Not necessarily of what all he says all the time, but just how he presents himself. He can tear down someone and still try to keep it somewhat civil and respectful. And I appreciate that. Now, there are times when he'll just going to rip you down when you need to be ripped down. But even when he does interviews, especially like the Change My Mind, he's incredibly intelligent, but he tries not to tear down the other side. It's a respectful conversation, and I respect that about Crowder. But having the Crowder and Rogan, they could if they ever decided to do a podcast together like full time, they would rule the world, I think.
Well, I tend to, again, Bill Maher and Rogan. That's my top two.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
And I would agree with you that more often than not, I probably gravitate more toward Bill Maher.
Yeah.
And the reason I do is it's just so laid back and casual as far as the
Which
conversation.
is odd. And when you say Bill Maher, if you know much
you
about
don't
Bill
think
Maher
that.
from 10 years of the
Yeah.
HBO show, the laid
Yeah.
back conversation is not what he was known for back then.
Right. But and then the guest, right? Like Rogan, it's he has a lot of weird people on, and I just don't care for.
Rogan's a weird dude. Let's be honest.
And Maher has, he has celebrities, of course, and then he has, I don't know what you would call it, like social figures and things of that nature. But what's crazy about it is you would think that, oh, well, Clover's just watching that because it's a celebrity. But here's the thing: is like they don't talk business or anything.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
Like that's like the unspoken rule of that podcast is like we don't discuss business and work and stuff like that. So they really don't talk about their projects and their history and their movies and their music. I mean, his one with Gene Simmons was just.
I haven't seen that one yet, but you said it was incredible.
Man, it was so awesome. And like they didn't talk about Kiss and music and a lot of that stuff. I mean, they talked about their personal lives and going out to eat with certain people and there's all these little stories and stuff, right? And it was just, it's freaking cool.
It is cool. 40% say the gun to a podcast, which is
nice.
kind of
thank you.
That's awesome. You're making it for me and Clover.
Right. Thank you.
Exactly. 23% say military podcast, and that makes sense. A lot of my people that are subscribed to my channel, they fall into that. I'm a huge military podcast guy. Those are the ones that I listen to the most, probably. Some of my good friends in my life have podcasts, so I always listen to them in the military side. But yeah, I'm a big fan of military podcasts. Sports podcast, 9%. My new favorite podcast, and I mentioned this several times before, is called the New Heights Podcast. And it's Travis Kelce, the tight end, Hall of Fame, going to be Hall of Fame tight end from the Kansas City Chiefs, and his brother, Jason Kelce, who will be a Hall of Famer. He's a center for the Philadelphia Eagles. And they do it every week, like on Wednesday or Thursday. They put out a new podcast. And sometimes they'll have guests. They talk football. Sure, they do. But it's just two brothers. It's hilarious. Two brothers having a podcast, and I've fallen in love with this podcast. It cracks me up, and that's ultimately for me. I want to be entertained. Ultimately, that's what podcasts for me are for, or to entertain me. I'll be doing work and all that, but I'll have my earbuds on at work, and I'll be listening to a podcast. And every now and then, people look at me strange. I'll just start giggling. I was blue. They're like, "What the hell? Like, what are you laughing at?" Oh, I'm listening to the podcast. Sorry. Other was at 22%, and then business 6%. Now, other, the vast majority of the comments for other, and I don't think of it very much. My daughter is a huge one. This is what almost all she ever listens to are the whodunit, the crime podcasts. They are huge, apparently. I don't listen to them, but a bunch of people do. And my daughter is one of them. She'll listen to a couple different ones, and that's all she ever listens to is on podcasts, or the crime, or the whodunit, the first 48 type kind of stuff. That's a big thing, apparently. So not for me, but that is a huge one. So those are the huge. Yeah, those are definitely the polls for the week. Now, before we get going, think maybe we can talk about it. We've people have kind of we've been hinting about it. We kind of did a little ad lib kind of on the fly Sunday night Ghost and Clover podcast that we've been doing now for 5 years. That said, this has been a couple months in the working. We still got another couple months, maybe possibly, to finish working it out.
Yeah.
But we are going to have an official Ghost and Clover podcast, and we're going to have an official Ghost and Clover YouTube channel that would be primarily for the podcast, but we'll also do maybe some collab videos and all that. It is out there already. There is a YouTube channel. It's just Ghost and Clover, like and the and sign, the ampersand, whatever how you say that.
Good luck finding it, but yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's brand new today, and we don't have any content on it yet. But Clover, I don't know if you're able to. I'm on my phone. Do you have a way to maybe put the link out there?
I can try, but that's assuming that I can find it.
That you can find it again. Sure, yeah, no, I get it.
But yeah, I mean, I can certainly try. Let's see.
And we're not saying it's already done, but it looks like we have already secured. It looks like we've already possibly gotten the title sponsor for the podcast, which is very, very nice.
Yeah. Is this it? Is it? Nope, that ain't it.
But one of the things that we're interested in and all that, and we're obviously looking to get some feedback from you guys. Now, this podcast isn't going to necessarily be a gun/two-way podcast. Where there'll be gun talk and all that. Absolutely. That's part of our lives. That's not going to ever leave. But this is going to be kind of what we've been talking about with other podcasts. It's going to be a conversation of two people. It can be talking about food or music or movies or politics or sports ball or, comedy, whatever. But what we're going to have several segments in this. We're going to each probably bring a segment to the table for that conversation. And then what we found Sunday night, thanks to you guys that were part of that Ghost and Clover podcast Sunday night, brought up an idea of maybe a crowd random topic. And so, yeah, that's gonna be part of it. We're gonna go out there and let the crowd enter into the random drawing picker, and whoever gets chosen will get to give us a topic to talk about for 10 or 15 minutes, which I think would be different than a lot of other podcasts. Is you guys are going to be able to interact and be able to be part of the podcast and all of that. Is this going to be a lot of 9? It's going to be a lot of 9mm. Now, the word 40 caliber will be banned from this next podcast. I'm just saying. Well, I'm going to say that you'll never hear me say it. I'm not going to speak for Clover, but you'll never hear me bring up 40. There will be a lot of 9mm, a lot of 22 LR.
Yeah, the only acceptable reason to mention 40 is to say 40 sucks. That's the only
there's two things that the 40 is good for: upgrading to a 10mm or upgrading to a 357 SIG. Either one is acceptable. Either one's acceptable.
Another thing, I know we're talking about the Ghost and Clover, and I did find the link, and I'll get it out there. Interestingly enough, youtube.com/@ Ghost and Clover. So
I forget. I'm not used to the handles that YouTube's using yet, because that would be a hell of a lot easier to give out.
Yeah, that worked using the handle behind youtube.com. It actually worked. But we've got to go live and do
sometime in the next week or so. Yeah,
winner for the sweepstake. Maybe Friday. Maybe we can do that. I don't know.
That might be a kind of a cool inaugural Ghost and Clover podcast, is announcing the Ghost and Clover giveaway.
So what that means, since we haven't done it already, what that means is if you haven't gotten in, or if you're looking to pad your chances and take advantage of the, get 5 stickers, get a free entry, or whatever the case may be, there are still some spots available on that. So
there has been a little bit of a rush in the last week, so there's not that many left.
There's not. I'm gonna say 30, but I don't know. I don't have the spreadsheet up.
Yeah,
so
we sold quite a bit in the last week, over the last weekend actually. So yeah, go check out that link, clovertech.com/shop2023. if you want to get any last minute. And once again, for every 5 stickers, you get an extra entry. And you don't, if you want to, we've had a bunch of this, and I think this
We've
is
got
awesome. Clover and I have talked about it.
We've got 14 people, by the way, that have gotten 5 or more.
Yeah.
So
we got several have gotten 10 or more.
Oh, yeah,
which is
yeah,
awesome.
That's what I'm saying. 5 or more. We've got 14 that's done 5 or more. So
and I love the fact that people are gifting these. There's going to be someone that possibly could win the whole shebang that doesn't even know that they're entered. That's an awesome thing. So thank you, everyone that's out there doing that as a gift. That was an awesome thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun to see that that happen. So yeah, if you want to donate entries for anybody, just get us on DMs or email or something, and and let us know.
Yeah.
And then also, if you want to pick the number of the sticker that you want, got a certain lucky number or whatever it might be, from 1 to 200. As long as that's not already been chosen by somebody, you can request that as well. So, and by the way,
specific number, absolutely.
We had this, but the whole 5 and you get an extra entry, doesn't have to be all at once. So if you picked up 1, if you picked up 3 or whatever, and you want that extra entry, now's the time to get in those extra couple or whatever it might be. As long as
you had someone that bought 4.
Yeah.
And then like, hey, I'm not saying you have to, but if you get 1 more, you get an extra entry, Yeah.
I was like, I'm not trying to force you about anything, but you got 4, and if you get 5, you get an extra. So just to let you know. And he's like, oh crap, okay, I'll go get another one. So yeah.
It's but we're really excited. Like I said, the Ghost and Clover YouTube channel is going to be primarily the home base for the podcast. Now, when we do the live podcast, we will probably, at least starting out, to cultivate that audience, we will live stream to my channel and to Clover's channel, obviously all 3 at the same time. But eventually we'll fade those out and just be on the Ghost and Clover channel.
And replay will not be available. Replay.
Oh no! As soon as we go off, we're making it unlisted. So the only place you can find it on replay will be the Ghost and Clover channel. Yes.
Right. Exactly.
But to kind of cultivate that audience and get people over to the Ghost and Clover channel, we will simulcast it on each of our channels, obviously, at the same time.
And I don't have a problem if we just always do that, quite honestly.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, if we're going to unlist it and it live and replay over there, anyway, it doesn't bother me too much.
Yeah, but we got a lot of cool plans. We got a lot of ideas, and I'm not saying it's going to happen February 1 or whatever. I would probably say we got a lot of stuff we've got to do. We've got artwork. We've got to do setting up podcast, streams and all of that. We've got all sorts. We got the sponsors. Like I said, we think we've got 1, but we've got a couple more sponsors to look for at Shot.
I don't think that'll be difficult. And quite
I don't think it'll be difficult, but we got to set up all the ads and the clips and all that stuff.
It's a week and a few days before, at least me, before, I head to Shot. And I would not be surprised if we had the sponsor spots on or ad spots or whatever you want to call them on the podcast filled before we ever go to Shot. Which is
I don't think we problem getting the sponsors done. It's just getting the actual media side of the ads and all of that done. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, the commercials, if you will, to place in the podcast. We've already got a bunch of industry interest in helping. Like I said, we've already pretty much. Not going to say it's official, but we're fairly certain we've got the title sponsor taken care of, which they actually went in a little bit heavier than we thought they would go into, which is awesome. Thank you. But yeah, it's one of those things we've got some back behind the scenes things we got to get done before we actually go live with it.
Well, and we're talking about doing every other week, at least for the first year or whatever. And so we've got to get to moving pretty quick on it with that in mind, because we do got that title sponsor or the powered sponsor. And there was a 20 episode commitment. So you're talking about to get 20 episodes every other week in a year. You do the math, right?
Exactly.
So there's only 52 weeks in a year. So,
Yeah. And we haven't come up with the day, and it may not be the same day and time all the time, depending on schedules, but that's another thing we've got to take into consideration. I kind of like the Sunday night. Really, no one's really going live anymore. Kind of at the 8 o'clock spot Central. and all that. So maybe that's something, but it may not be that every time we go live, but we'll let you know the schedule. Now, Snob out there says, so there's a rumor going around. You guys are also starting a joint OnlyFans account. Maybe Chase spreading that rumor. Well, Chase is only spreading that rumor because it's actually going to be a menage a trois OnlyFans. It's going to be a three-way OnlyFans. So if you're wanting to see Chase involved in some of this action, be on the lookout for that as well.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever see us on only. Oh God, Chase is out there saying only Fuds.
Yeah.
Now Chase has a link, but you can.
Well, you
jump
know
in
what
if you
they,
want.
you know what I always say is my shotgun's bringing all the boys to the yard.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. But no, we're excited about this. We're working on some graphics and the logos and the banner art that you see on the YouTube channel. That's just for us to kind of get going. That's going to be an ever evolving artwork and all that. That's just something that we put together quickly today just to get the channel going because we want to start cultivating that channel a little bit, getting people aware of what's going on. But we really are excited. That doesn't mean that we're not going to do this podcast. We're going to do the Armed Citizen podcast every week. Clover's still going to have his series of podcasts that he does. This is just going to be something extra that we're doing that is kind of, what we talk about on Sunday is, and I think this is where everyone is, yes, I love talking guns. I love talking two-way stuff, but that's not the only part of my life. We all have different interests, and this is literally going to be kind of just a hanging out, a fun podcast to talk literally whatever the topic we want to talk about. Once again, guns and firearms and all of that two-way is going to be involved because that's part of who we are. But that's not all we are, So that's what we're excited about. It's just having a conversation about just random stuff that
and I think
interests us.
I think it's going to be interesting. Like you said earlier, we'll do one segment with my topic, one segment with your topic, and those are alternate from episode to episode as to who goes first, and then I really like the idea. I think we're probably going to run with the idea of a random viewer driven topic.
Yeah, that was a really awesome. And that came from the chat Sunday night. That was something that we had never even thought of. And that came from, hey, why don't you guys do like a random topic from the chat? Freaking, that's beautiful. Not a problem at all. We can do that. That'll be fun. Now, obviously, let's make sure the topics are not something that's going to get us deplatformed from everything. We're not going to talk about serious stuff that doesn't need to be talked about. But,
Yeah, this is not, this is not an Anchorman thing where we're going to do whatever you
right.
Say. Right. We do have the right to refuse those specific topics. So,
right.
But I think most things, we can talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's certain things that
there's about 1% of topics that we'll probably say,
yeah, and there's also things that could be inappropriate, right? It's whether that's whether it's an issue for the platform or anything like that. Now, obviously, this is one of the perks for those that don't know. When you delve into the podcast and live stream world and things like that, it's one of the benefits of being of having support from the industry and seeking outside advertisers and things like that is you can turn the monetization off.
That's correct.
And so when you turn the monetization off, you've got a whole lot less policy wise that you have to worry about. And that's one of the things that you see. You spoke about Crowder and Rogan and all of them. You think those guys are monetized? No, they're not monetized on YouTube. Like they get their money through other means. So we do have some freedom, but there just may be some topics that it's like, what, that's too personal, or whatever hits too close to home, or whatever the case may be. Like I don't really want to talk about that.
Yeah. Now Wood says, now yes, you're 100%. Part of that 1% is 40 cal. That is an inappropriate topic.
Well,
for sure,
again,
100%.
Unless we're discussing
how
much
context,
40 sucks.
Correct. That's right. In context, how much it sucks or how easily it can be converted to 10 or to 357 SIG. Those topics are fine. Yeah. But just talking about 40 caliber is an inappropriate topic. We will not accept those premises. Just saying.
Right. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see because, we talk a lot. So I'm wondering, talking about on the phone and whatnot. So, I'm wondering now, should we even? We probably should not even tell each other our topics
No, I don't think we should.
going into the show.
I think that our topic should be ours
Yeah,
and
'cause
get the
it's gonna
true
be
reaction off of them. Absolutely.
yeah, it's going to be potentially rehearsed if we
No,
do, and so
no,
I don't
I
want
think
that
that's a
feel at
great
all.
idea. The
So I think
topics that
that
you and
needs
I
to
bring
be
individually, we do not share ahead of time. It
yeah,
is going to be a surprise.
yep, yeah.
Absolutely.
I
Now
think
there
so.
will be times that we will bring on guests, and it could be a firearm company, it could be a knife maker, it could be a guitar person, it could be a chef, could be whatever. Like whatever we're talking about, if we have an opportunity, we will occasionally possibly bring on some guests. But a
Yeah.
lot of time, like I said, it's just going to be kind of hanging out talking, which I think everyone every now and then needs to just
It won't be an
decompress
interview
from everything and
session.
just relax, No, it
Even
won't be like
if
an
we have
interview.
a
It'll just be, hey,
guest.
why don't you join in on the
Yeah.
conversation? Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, it won't be like, hey, a spotlight on this company. It's gonna be, hey, you would join in, and it could be a baseball card guy. He goes, Clover's big into the card side now. He knows a lot of people over there, and that might lead to bringing some athletes on.
Yeah.
We both got
Never
we
know.
both got access in our lives to some different athletes we possibly could be bringing on,
We do. Yeah.
and so that'd be kind of cool.
Athletes,
Celebrities, yeah. I mean,
who knows where it could go.
politicians. I mean, we
True.
both got politicians that we could bring on if we want to go political.
You
I
know,
don't
if
see us going too political
so,
sometimes, but
so here's the thing. Like, I would want to make a caveat, and most politicians aren't going to want to come on if they can't talk political. But I would want
yeah,
the caveat that look, like this is a laid back, random topic show, and so we're not going to discuss your campaign for reelection. We're not going to. That's for another podcast, not this one. You're going to come in as a regular person. We're going to hang out, and we're just going to talk about whatever randomness that topic may be.
I love the name. You ain't got no legs. What's up, brother?
What's up, y'all? How are you doing?
Oh, we're just living the dream. I know you were busy. Are you you're probably lit up a little bit now, aren't you?
Oh, I mean, I'm doing great right now. Taco Tuesday, a little tequila. It's a good time.
Yeah, I bet. But yeah, so yeah, we're looking forward to the Ghost and Clover podcast. And like I said, there will be some content on the Ghost and Clover that isn't the podcast. We've got a lot of things that we've always talked about doing, like legit collaboration videos that will be posted on there as well. The vast majority will be the podcast, though. But there could be some collab videos and different things that we'll do throughout the. That's why we didn't name the channel Ghost and Clover Podcast. We just named it Ghost and Clover because there could be some stuff we do this, not necessarily podcasts down the line as well. But
yeah.
Looking forward to it for sure. That'll probably happen in the next month or so, within the first quarter of this year.
Right.
Definitely happen. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes stuff that we've got to get straightened out and cleaned up and all of that. But for sure, yeah, we're looking forward to it. But yeah, if you're out there and you're interested, go check out the new channel. We do have a channel out there. It's youtube.com/@ghostandclover. There it is right there. youtube.com/@ghostandclover. And give us a subscribe. And like I said, join the discussion because we'll have fun with it.
Subscribe and then stand by for the standby.
Stand by for the standby. Standby. Yep, 100%. I can't. I'm on my phone. I can't even. Do I even want to know what that avatar says?
It's AFT. Looks like, or something. There's an IRS. I don't know. I can't tell.
Nope, neither one.
It's like something about Wimpy.
It's an NRA FUD meme.
Out whisper.
Quit whispering, Tommy.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
Well done. Chase, I know you're here. Thanks for hanging out, bud. I want to give you a few minutes since you just kind of jumped on. I know you've been freaking burning the candle low the last while.
Yes.
Some exciting news coming out from EAA with the Witness 2311 going to be revealed obviously at Range Day, but also at SHOT Show. You want to talk a little bit a sub $1,000 double stack 1911. That's pretty freaking amazing. You want to talk a little bit about what's going on with EAA right now for a few minutes?
Does it come in 40?
Absolutely
You shut your
not.
mouth. You shut your mouth.
I mean, it will come in what every 40 wishes it was in a 10 millimeter.
There you go.
I
Yeah,
wonder.
that's some of the questions that I've
now-
been getting. Is it just going to be 9mm? No.
Now we had-
no.
If they read
We
the
had-
ad, they would notice.
So we talked earlier about some of the warning labels, right? You got to think a double stack 10 millimeter. There's got to be a big, huge warning label of some type on that, right?
This might hurt your wrist. I don't know.
Like, no, talking about if you're able to handle this, it may cause hair to grow in your ear or something. I don't know. Like,
Now, what I worry about, Chase, is a double stack 1911 and 10mm. Is it CloverTac approved? I mean, will he be able to handle this?
I mean, we're gonna see here.
CloverTac approved. Come on.
We're gonna see here.
Well,
in a
I'm
couple
worried
weeks
about can you handle
if
it
he
or
can
not. I
handle
don't
it,
know.
like physically.
I
hold
got
it.
pinky braces, bro. I'm good.
You do have pinky brace, that's for sure.
He does.
He does.
I mean, we'll see here in a couple weeks if he can actually physically hold the grip. That's going to be the key.
That's true.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing. So it can't be. So I've got a pair ordnance Warthog. I'm sure you're familiar with that, right, Chase?
Oh yeah.
The grip's not any thicker than that. It can't be.
No, it's like in that same ballpark because I had a Nighthawk
Yeah.
years ago, same thing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in that ballpark. The cool thing about these guns is you're going to be able to get custom grip modules for them. So you have like a hand issue, or like say somebody's, missing a finger, or they've got hand trauma, or whatever. You'll be able to do custom grip modules for them.
Right.
Nice.
That's something we've been working on. I mean, we've been sitting on this thing for a while and playing with it, tweaking it. And so everybody will get to see it at SHOT, and then we'll have it at NRA and stuff like that. So everybody will have a chance to play with it here soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the big thing is sub $1,000, 9mm, and then we'll have some different versions of them. Different.
Obviously, there's going to be an
variants.
optic cut version as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah.
All that stuff's coming down the line. We just did the standard sight gun to begin with, but all that's coming.
What are kind of some of the features that you guys that have gone into this design? Because I know that this has been a collaboration with a bunch of different people. What are some of the features that you want to come a spotlight on this thing?
And that'll get all talked about at the show, so I won't play with that just yet. But I mean, feature-wise, anybody who's familiar with the Staccato line or the old STIs will be very at home with this. I'll put it that way.
Awesome.
It's same mags, same OEM manufacturer that makes those mags. I mean, it's a really high quality gun without the really high quality price tag. And that's the whole point about this, is to make that gun accessible to people that, man, I want a Staccato P or whatever, but I don't have $2,500. I don't have $3,000 or below on one.
Right.
This is the answer. Without sacrificing what you want in the,
I'm just saying, you should have named it The Answer 2311. That would have been badass. The Answer.
Well,
but I don't know. Maybe did Allen Iverson trademark that? Probably he probably did.
Is we've come up with a couple of really cool names the last couple of years. Like we're like, oh, this would be really cool for this or that, and you'd be amazed at what stuff is like trademarked.
Yeah.
That you can't play with.
I'm assuming that Allen Iverson, if he was smart, and he's a pretty smart guy, I'm sure someone at his party has trademarked The Answer for sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm probably getting in trouble for saying it right now.
I mean, some of the stuff like we just talked about, I don't even think about it. You're like, oh, that's actually a registered trademark. Seriously? And some of the things like 2011, for example, that's why nobody uses 2011 because Staccato owns 2011.
Yeah.
And most
now
people
you guys trademarked the 2311, did you not? Or you were thinking about it?
Yeah, we trademarked Witness 2311. So
yeah, awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I think that we were talking earlier on the phone a couple of days ago about some of the stuff that people do trademark. Like this is a shot. I'm not gonna lie. This is a shot to all you Ohio people out there. The only state that has 4 letters it takes 2 people to spell. But the Ohio State University tried to trademark the word "the." Well, that's just stupid. I mean, come on. So that obviously they got denied, but they tried to trademark "the." Yeah.
I mean, you look at what happened to them the other night.
I'm just saying.
They deserved every bit of it.
Yeah. Tell you what, that TCU
that game was
Michigan game was pretty amazing. Did y'all see the Cotton Bowl where Tulane was down 15 with 3 minutes to go and came back and won that thing over? I think it was maybe OU. I think it was.
USC.
Or USC. It was USC. That's right.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
laughing so hard.
that was awesome. Tulane.
The
The Green
the
Wave.
green wave got them.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Now She Fire's out there saying she can't wait to visit EAA. Absolutely.
Yeah, come on down.
Yeah, come on. And I tell you what, I know you can stop by the booth anytime. But if you're going to SHOT, I know Millserp is out there, Snob's out there, She Fire's out there. A bunch of people out there in the chat are going to go to SHOT Show. If you're wanting to actually kind of get in with EAA, Chase, I know that you guys, as far as scheduled appointment times, are kind of getting slim pickings. So, can they get a hold of you or someone somehow if they actually want to schedule an appointment? I know you're kind of running out of actual appointment times.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like, companies and that kind of stuff, or like, creators or whatever, we still have some times left. But I mean, don't feel like that you can't stop by the booth.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
even if some of us are tied up, there's always going to be one or two people like roaming around to talk to somebody. And if you can't talk to exactly like who you want to right that second, hang out for a few minutes, and so somebody will get free for you.
Yeah.
The only time that like somebody won't be able to get free like right away is if if we have like a meeting or something going on and a couple of us are like in the back room or whatever. But other than that, we're pretty accessible.
Now, She Fire says she'd like an appointment. Is there an email that she maybe could use to get a hold of you to maybe schedule an appointment?
Yeah. Mine's real hard to remember. It's, Chase at EAA Corp.
That's Marine proof right there.
That's real tough. You'd be amazed how people can't get it right, though.
They probably put EAA.com instead of EA Corp, though. It is EAAcorp.com.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, because it's EAA Corporation, so everything just gets straight, cut down. Because
if you just try to do EAA, you get the freaking video game company.
Yeah,
you get that. You get EAA, and then you get the aircraft company.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, she says she's pretty good at hanging around, so she can do that instead. But if you She Fires or Millserp or anyone, if you actually want to set an appointment, get a hold of Chase, and he can probably tell you what times are available. But yeah, the best way, if you just want to kind of go, like I have an appointment on Thursday with you. But throughout the first couple of days, I'm going to go in there, obviously say hi and check in with you guys. But I tell you, the best thing to do, guys, if you're out there and you're finding some companies that are running tight, they might only have 15-minute appointment schedules at this time, go do your B-roll some other time. When they're in a meeting or so, get there half an hour early to your appointment. Go take some pictures, take some B-roll, familiarize yourself with the products. And so then when your time comes, you can spend that 15 or 20 minutes specifically on the interview. That might be a great way to start getting it done.
Yep. Yeah, and I will say, like, I know a lot of people are going to be at range day, obviously Monday, but if you're not, Mondays are pretty wide open. I mean, we'll be there, the ones of us that aren't going to range day, so we got that. And then Fridays, because everybody's trying to get home, Friday's wide open too.
Yeah, Fridays, people that have never been to SHOT Show, Friday's always the fun day to see, because at that point, everyone's tired from the parties and the long weeks. Even the companies are in like jeans and T-shirts or golf shirts at that point. They're not even dressing up by Fridays. I will say this.
Tracksuits.
Or tracksuits that are Enter the Dragon tracksuits, which are phenomenal, by the way. But this is just something to keep in mind also. Fridays, I'm not saying you can do this. The saying you have to do it the way I do it, and Clover I think does it a lot of the same way. I use Fridays is to go back and say hi and bye to everyone that I've talked to throughout the week. Now, you can still get some quality interviews on Friday. Just understand that the energy is not going to be there from some people because they're tired. They've been doing the whole week. So, Fridays you can get in, but just understand that they're tired, you're tired, blah, 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 blah. Friday's a great day to just go by and see everybody again, hang out for a few minutes, and kind of do it that way. But yes, there are times that you can get really good quality interviews on Friday. It's just everyone's going to be tired, including yourself. And if you've never been, you probably don't know how tired you're going to be until you actually get to Friday morning. Just saying. Yeah.
You'll know it's Friday because we'll all be dragging. Like everybody will be.
Absolutely.
Just from all the stuff going on and the lack of quality sleep, and everybody's just it's been a fun but exhausting week, you'll know. You'll
Hey,
find
so
out.
so Woods was asking them out there about the tombstone, and I
Yeah.
think we got him squared away. But I got to thinking about, so I was been looking over some stuff, and somewhere I seen an AR style lever action 5.56.
I don't know how that would work. How does that work?
I've seen that guy. I know exactly what Clover's talking
The
about. I
same
saw
as
it.
the same. It's they take the lower. It's all like
Instead of being a
redesigned. It's
magazine fed,
proprietary.
it's a lever action,
No,
though.
it's mag fed. No.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it looks like
Okay.
the tombstone. Except imagine
Okay.
the tombstone in
Okay.
5.56.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the guys. They were across from me in the SGW. Give me a little time. I can dig
Do
the
you
name
think they'll
up.
be at shot?
I know they'll be at shot because they were
Yeah, they
talking
Okay.
about it.
will. That's
Okay,
where
cool.
I was looking at it, but I
They're
can't remember the
based.
name of the company.
Yeah, the company is based like down here where I'm at, so they're like
Ah,
close around Live Free somewhere.
well,
Okay.
go over there
Interesting.
and talk me up
I'll
so they send me
I'll
one.
find out who it is, and I'll between
Let
like
us
the next
know.
day or two, I'll let you know who it is.
Make sure you let them know I'm a big deal in Turkey.
That's it.
Jesus.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I want to play one of the POF 9mm. That thing looks cool
I
as
do
crap.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
I
She
have
Fighter
this.
says, I guess this is what the podcast is going to be like. Yeah, it's going to
Yep.
be completely random, just like this. We can go in to talk about sports. We can talk. I mean, it's going to be completely random, which will be fun. Yeah, you never know what you're going to get from episode to episode.
Can't be club random. That's trademarked, but it's gonna
No,
be
no.
random.
What I'll say is, I thought about this earlier, and then y'all were kind of touching on stuff earlier, like we talked about some of your podcast ideas earlier today.
Yeah.
What you need to do, like I thought about this, is how you support different charities and outreaches or whatever. Get
100%.
some, get somebody to be like, do like a super donation and let that okay, I got my 10 minutes now of like whatever. Here's my topic. This is what I want you to go to town on, and like be like the gold topic of the night or whatever.
Like, here's my $100 or $50 super chat, and here's
Yeah.
the organization that I want you to talk about for 10 minutes. 100%. That could be awesome.
Yeah, that or hey, I want you to talk about this random whatever, but I
Yeah.
want the money to go to this
This money's going
donation
to go to
this
this organization.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I
I
like that too.
love that. I
like that
love
too.
that.
because that way people can hear your opinion on whatever it is they want to hear,
Yeah.
but give the money to a worthy cause.
Oh, I
Well-
love that.
What we could do is do a like every few episodes or something.
Yeah.
Instead of having three sections that are all like viewer driven, we do super chat driven and maybe put a minimum on it. Like no matter what you super chat, it goes
Yeah.
to that charity.
Yeah.
But for any super chat of $20 or more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
Let's
go
say you
down the
block
rabbit
out
hole.
5.
We
or
go
whatever.
down the rabbit hole of that topic for 10 minutes or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's awesome. I love that idea. That's a great one. And those super chats will go to that foundation, that charity,
Whatever it might be,
whatever they, 100%. I love that.
We can alternate that out too. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that idea. That's a great one. Thanks, Chase.
That's what I
So
do,
you're
man.
not
I'm
just a
good
pretty
idea for
face, man. You're not just a pretty face.
I like it.
That says marketing skills.
Mm-hmm. Something like that. Yeah.
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 That's why he makes the big bucks.
This is true. This is
Lives
true.
in the bougie part of Florida and has all the bougie stuff and eats at bougie restaurants.
I am kind of bougie. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, the fact that he has to explain a menu to some people is hilarious.
That's a true story.
I'm totally appreciative of that because I'm telling you right now, had they just brought me out that and with the rat turds on it and me not knowing what the rat turds were,
Pasta and rat poo especial.
I would not have eaten that. So just saying.
Now, Milsurp out there says, "Ghost, are you guys planning on any group meetup at Shot?" So here's the thing: we don't do like necessarily group meetups, but what we do every day, if you want to, and we do this not as a meetup, it's just what we do every day for years now. At 7:30 every morning, up in the media room, there's about 10 to 15 of us every morning that'll eat breakfast together at a big table. You can't miss us. We take up one of the huge round tables there when you first walk in. There's about 10 or 15 of us that will eat breakfast together every morning at 7:30. So absolutely, if you want to find a time, that's probably the best time that we guarantee that everyone's going to kind of be there.
Yeah.
Is it about 7:30 every morning in the media room for breakfast? At that point, because everyone's got different schedules and got different appointments and all that. Do we try to meet up around lunch and kind of catch our breath for half an hour in the media room? Sure. Do we do it at 4 or 5 o'clock at the end of the day in the media room? Yeah, but if you're wanting to kind of like make sure that everyone's there, I would say show up at 7:30 for breakfast in the media room, and you'll probably catch pretty much everyone that you want to see. That's in our crew, I should say.
Well, and a lot of other people. I mean, if you
A
want the
ton of other
best
people. A
odds,
ton of other people.
anybody,
Yeah.
Anybody that's going as media, if you're looking for the best opportunity to corner them, then
Yeah.
probably the mornings at the first thing in the morning in the media room is the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That, and if you want to get in with the cool kids table, you have to go over there and research your dominance.
But here's
You have
the
to go
thing.
steal the cereal from Clover.
I don't know that Millsarp is going as media, so that's going to be problematic.
Well, if he needs to, make sure you get a hold of one of us in one of the mornings, and we can walk you in. We can walk you in.
Yeah.
You're just not going to be able to get in necessarily by yourself, but we can walk you in with us for sure.
Right.
But yeah, that's probably the best way. Yeah, you're going to have to, if you want cereal, especially Cheerios version, you definitely want to get there and get in line ahead of Clover because he will take it all.
The Fruit Loops, the Cheerios, and the Frosted Flakes for sure.
He's gonna grab about 10 boxes of those. So
Cheerios, I grab I don't know how many because I put those in my bag and that's my snack.
That's your snack on. Yep.
Yeah.
Are you 3 for real?
Do what?
I said, are you like 3? Got a bag of Cheerios everywhere you
go? Yes, he does.
Is there a problem with that?
No, I'm just saying. Not a
he
terrible
will.
idea at all.
So he will be there as media. So yeah, he's gonna.
Oh, okay,
go then.
nice.
Yeah.
He's good then.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Nice.
And if any of y'all are like feeling froggy that happen to be at the show, if you want to go hang out with us Tuesday night, that's a terrible idea too.
Ooh, I don't know if you want to do that. That's
right.
Holy cow! Tuesday night is gonna get interesting, boys and girls.
I'm going to put a disclaimer out there right now. I'm not responsible for what goes down or what you might see or get involved with. Just know it's going to be a good time.
There's a good chance that we will all have blackmail on each other forever at this point. Just saying. Yeah. Oh, good Lord. I don't even want my seriously, like my liver's hurting just thinking about Tuesday night. I'm just saying.
It's going to be a good time.
It'll be
Wednesday morning is going to be rough, but Tuesday night will be a good time.
Yeah.
That'll be like my stratosphere incident the year before where you just don't go to bed.
Now, Obnoxious says that he heard there was some fuddery going on regarding optic. Yeah, there was a lot of optic talk in here. 100% people trying to turn this into a FUD podcast. I'm doing the hardest work I can to keep that from happening. But, the people I hang out with are more FUDs than I am, so I kind of don't have a choice in some of the aspects. I guess I could kick them out, but yeah.
I've got the power just to get right back in.
I know. That's what sucks. I need to take that shit away from you.
Yeah. How long you said that now?
I know. It's not going to happen. I'm too dumb to figure out how to do it. All right. Chase, you have anything closing before we head out of here to plug for EAA or just in general?
Basically, just come by and see us. So we got a lot of cool new stuff to show up at the show. I mean, we've kind of talked about everything already several times over. So
yeah.
That's
and if you're not going to SHOT Show, make sure you follow Clover and I, Snob, Obnoxious, She Fires, Millsert. We're all going to hang out with EAA guys. And so there's going to be a lot of cool announcements coming out about what's going on. I can tell you for me personally, my content throughout the week is going to be through Instagram pictures and reels and then YouTube shorts. I'm probably not going to put any full-length videos out the week of SHOT. I'll be doing a lot of shorts and reels and Instagram pictures. So make sure you're following the new Instagram, Ghost Tactical 2.0. I had to restart Instagram and start over again, but go follow that because I'll be doing a lot of stuff on Instagram that week and then posting a bunch of reels and YouTube shorts and then the community tab as well. But I'll be doing a lot of that. Chloe, I'll let you kind of hang out and tell people what projects you have coming up and then where you might be posting a lot of your content on for SHOT Show.
It'll be community tab shorts for the most part. I am going to get probably a few, longer videos done with some things, but
after the fact, though,
yeah, that'll be after the fact.
Yeah.
Certainly won't be during the show. So yeah, I mean, as far as what's going on, I mean, for me, got a little bit over a week for me, and so I've got tires ordered. They got to get in. I got to get them on.
Hopefully they come in on time, right?
I've got the stickers, the special stickers for EAA,
Yep.
to go get picked up. I've got can't even remember all the stuff, but a ton of stuff that's got to get done between now and then. So, but it'll be good. I mean, it'll be a little bit stressful. I said something to my wife about that, I think yesterday. I'm like, it's fixing to start getting a little bit stressful. But once we get on the road, headed that way, it's party time, man. So
yeah,
is what it is.
Speaking of EAA and Gerson, be looking out on the channel in the next week or so. The new 1911 and 10 millimeter.
Yeah,
there'll be a video about it. I'm sure Clover will have one come out. He's got a little different. He's got a little different 1911. It's pretty cool. But you've probably seen the shorts and the reels and pictures on Instagram from both of us. But those will be coming out pretty soon, and all that. Anything else, guys? Nope. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for watching so much. We appreciate you guys. I want to send a big shout out to Rob from LIONHEART Industries for coming on. Really looking forward to seeing the Vulcan 9. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to hang out with them. We're going to have the Robs probably back on after SHOT Show and talk a little bit about what happened at SHOT and all of that. And after the fact, probably in February, get a little breather after SHOT and all that. But thanks for Rob for coming on. It was a great talk. Go check out LionHeartIndustries.com. Check out the new Vulcan 9 and the Regulus. Regulus is a great gun. It's still out there, but the Vulcan 9 is going to be their new release for 2023. So check them out. And as always, we shall see you soon. Be on the lookout maybe in the next week, maybe over the weekend, hopefully, the sweepstakes drawing. We'll go live and do the live drawing for the sweepstakes. So if you have any last minute chances you want to increase, go check out clovertech.com/shot2023 and get those last minute entries. There's only a few left. We've had a pretty good rush the last week or so. So check that out, and we'll probably go live sometime in the next week to announce the winner for that. But thank you guys so much for watching or listening. If you're watching this in replay or listening to podcast, thank you so much. Leave a comment. The conversation does not have to stop now. Leave a comment. Let's keep the conversation going. We'll see you soon. Semper Fi.